I said I saw something weird on the screen. Okay. Am I up? No. Okay, I'm showing connected on everything except. Okay, so I'm gonna go turn on Facebook here. Hold on. Okay, Facebook is starting up. If you're watching a recording, do fast forward 3 minutes. It is 3 minutes till 1 and we'll start at 1. Okay, let's see what else we got here. hmm Yes. Hey, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? So let's see. Who's up there? Hey, Cheryl. So what do you think, Cheryl? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I think that's what we're going with today. Okay, Sada. I think I got everything. Cutters. Wire. Oops. Lost a jump ring. Okay, so it looks like Facebook is up and running. So 2 minutes. Huh? Okay. So, okay. Okay. So if you're watching on Facebook, just remember that we cannot comment in the chat, but you can ask questions. And Andy's with me in the earpiece here, believe it or not. And he's going to relay your questions to me. If you're hanging out and you're new, if you're on Twitch, say hello. And so we know you're out there. Because when we were on Twitch yesterday, hey, for the first time, we got rated. How cool is that? Which means somebody was watching another channel and whoever was or the person, the channel, that particular channel, everybody jumped over to my channel. So it was really, really cool. So hi everyone, we're going to start in 1 minute. So if you're just watching the recording, we're hanging out because we're making sure our technology is up and running as always. Because you never know. You never know. I thought I had a glitch here today, but woohoo, we made it past it. So, how many weeks are we without a glitch, Andy? I think we're on 3 or 4 weeks actually without a glitch. So, this is pretty exciting stuff, right? So, so if you're hopping on, we're going to start here. What are we making? We're making some ring. I'll go over that later. So, what else happened this weekend? Oh, next week, somebody was asking over the weekend, what is next Monday? Next Monday, we're doing this one, Upon a Star. Why? Because there's little stars on there. But if you don't like stars and you want a heart or a clover or X's, so you have X's and O's or cross. It's either an X or a cross. Is up to you, however you want to see it. But anyway, so you can get that on our website at the Urban Beater. So yeah, knock on wood. I saw that comment, Janet. Knock on wood that everything continues the way it's going. Woohoo. Okay, so are you ready, honey? It's 1 o'clock. I'm ready to roll. Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Q Farm Gray with Q Talk Live. I'm simulcasting on Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, and YouTube. I don't know why that stumbles me every week. I still have to think about where it is that we all are. But anyway, so if you are on Facebook, we can only like your comments, but Andy is relaying all the comments to me. So we see that there's a bunch of new people out there. And if you're on Twitch, Andy can respond to you. I don't do any responding because you know what? I'm working with a torch and my focus should be down here. Anyway, so that's why I don't comment. If you have any questions, do send out a message directly and we will answer your question. If you know, if you have questions later, that is, if you're not, if I don't get to it here. Anyway, so what else is going on? Okay, so this week. Okay, so this week is today is Minimal Metal Monday, and we are doing this ring, and I just called it some ring. The reason why I called it some ring is because so I was making out the schedule for July, and I was slotting times. I'm like, okay, so I got to come up with some ring for sometime in July, and I went, okay, that's going to be the name. That's how he came up with the name. You know what? Naming these things, I think it's far worse than having to come up with a project. Is really wackadoo. But anyway, so that's what we're making. We have part two of Step by Step Surprise Labyrinth on Wednesday, and then on Friday we have our Zoom, and we're doing this bracelet. This is the Links and More bracelet. All kinds of links on there, all kinds of fun stuff, and you know, just sort of fun. Great basic soldering project, and some reinforcing if you want some reinforcement on your soldering. So that's what's happening on Friday, and then again next Monday will be the Upon a Star bracelet. Okay, of course, Virtually Ever Crafting's coming up in, I think, 3.5 weeks. Pretty excited about that. So if you haven't registered yet, go to virtuallyevercrafting.com. All the tools today are available at theurbanbeater.com, and I have links posted in the Facebook feed. So if you need anything, just you can take a look there. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. So what do you need today? You're going to need a couple bench blocks, are going to make your life a lot easier. A leather mallet would be great. A ring mandrel and a forming block would make your life even easier on the ring mandrel, though the forming block is not required. A pair of heavy duty cutters, my favorites. Just a regular pair of cutters is also good. A round file of some sort. Okay, I have a larger one, but a needle file will work also. So you also need a couple pairs of chain nose pliers. I like to have my bent nose. These are the Zurons, and just a regular pair of pliers will also work too. But you'll need two of them because we're working with jump rings today. And then this lovely number is just a pair of tweezers. I've been using tweezers more and more these days, loving them. So for supplies, oh, and a ruler. Ruler's always helpful. Okay, so for supplies, you're going to need some 16 gauge wire. You can use either brass, copper, or silver. Okay, I prefer sterling silver here because it's a ring instead of fine silver, because it's going to bend. Okay, and because it's, you know, you want something, a metal that's a little bit harder. Okay, and then we have 8mm 18 gauge jump rings is what we have here. Now you can definitely use smaller or larger if you want, depending on where your design, you know, how bold you want this to be. Now just remember, if you're making this bigger, if you go to say a 10mm jump ring, okay, you might want to increase the number of wires you have on the shank. So this shank is made up of 3 wires soldered together, is what I did there. So remember, Minimal Metal Monday is based all on 18 gauge and 16 gauge wire, 5mm and 8mm jump rings, because everything is minimal, right? Oh, you might want to get ready for, let me think, September. I'm already thinking about September. Just about done with the August schedule, but September I'm going to start doing 18 gauge and 16 gauge square wire, because you know what, we've been doing this for what, 4 months going on 5 months. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that it's time to change it up a little bit. Okay, and I'll probably start putting up 18 gauge and 16 gauge wire here coming up soon as we go into September. All right, so that's what we have to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and start working. Let's see. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay. The jump ring measurement is outside diameter. I know it's really weird. I've always used outside diameter since I started my career. So just about everything I do is outside diameter. Okay. So first things first, we're going to take the jump rings. Um, and then we just had a question as to what size on the step mandrel will make the right size jump ring. The fourth one on the stepped looping pliers, okay, the fourth one is going to be the closest. It's not exact, but it works. Okay. Okay, so the jump rings. First things first, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you take these jump rings and you close them. So just bring the joints together, the ends together really nice and close so that you prepare them for soldering. Okay, so you'll do that for all 5 jump rings, and you can do this with just 3 jump rings if you'd like, if you prefer 3 instead of 5, but we do like our odd numbers. Okay, so so once you get them all together, you're going to solder 3 of them. I have already soldered 3 of them together here. Now it'll make life a lot easier if you go ahead and solder these 3. Okay, and then so you'll use hard solder. If you're doing copper, you'll use copper solder. All right, it's pretty straightforward. Next up, we're going to link them together. Oops, we're going to link these together, and then we'll solder the other 2. But I went ahead and soldered the first 3 because that's sort of boring. So I'm going to put 2 on, and I'm going to work those together really nice and close, and then I'm going to open the last jump ring. Okay, so there we go. We're linking all 5 jump rings together. I have 3 already soldered, and then the other 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and solder the other 2, and I'll show you how to do that. So just take out your cross-locking tweezers, and you see how I'm holding it? I'm holding it right at the bottom like that, and I have my opening here at the top. Okay? I can't see my screen. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to take out some hard solder. And I like using solder paste. You can use whatever solder you like. Everybody has their preference, but when it comes to jump rings, I definitely use solder paste because it's so much easier. And then I'm using a T-pin to apply it. So just a little bit here, and just some right there at the top. You can definitely use your butane torch to do this. Just take it out, and if you have any other kind of torch, it's fine too. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn on that torch and point it right there at the joint, not waving it around too much until it comes right through, and done. Okay, let's quench that, and then I'm gonna do the next one with my other torch because I can. So again, put some solder right on that joint. And I'm going to use the other torch because I know a few of you are starting to get into this other torch and you want to see how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. And what's nice about this is it gets down to this teeny weeny little flame. See how small that is? Look, I'll put my finger next to it so you can see how small it is. Give a little perspective. Okay. And notice I'm starting from out here and I'm going to come in. Yep. So the question is it the number 7 tip? It is the number 7 tip, but you can use the 4, you can use the 3, whatever. Okay. Put that away and quench it. Okay, so there we are. Let's go ahead and pickle that because we're going to need to solder these jump rings together. So my pickle's on the side. Put that to the side. Okay. So then you're going to take out your 16 gauge wire. Again, you can use copper, silver, or brass. Any of it will work. How much wire do you need? Well, it depends on your ring shank size, right? So just so you have something to gauge with, ring shanks are typically somewhere between 2 1/4 and 2 3/4 inches. Okay, that's about where you are. If you're looking for a chart, I do have it on my website at qfomgray.com. I did provide a link in the Facebook feed with directly to the charts. There you'll find a whole bunch of different charts that you can that you can download. Okay, so one of them is a ring chart. Now, of course, for this ring, you're not going to need all 2 inches because almost half of the ring is made up of the jump rings. So you're going to need a little bit less. I still like a lot of room for error, so I'm going to go to about 2 inches for my wire because I can always cut it down, right? So all you do is just take out some wire. Let's cut some wire here. And I'm not going to get too crazy about the length, but so once you cut your wires, you'll need 3 of them unless you want a boulder shank, then go to 4 or 5. Okay, and I want them really straight, so I'm going to put it on my bench block and put a second one on, and I'm going to roll it just like so. And if it's not wanting to straighten up, go ahead and anneal it. That will help. If you have annealed it, do pickle it. Okay, so here I've got 3, yep, really nice and straight wires, and we'll solder them together. Now, if you were here 2 weeks ago, you know what happened the last time I tried to do this. So let's just all take a moment and say a prayer, okay? This is going to happen today. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to pull out my solder board. And let's do that. There we are. So because I'm using copper for the shank, I'm going to go ahead and use copper for the copper solder to solder them together. Okay. Can you use silver solder on copper? Absolutely you can. Because, but why don't you? A, because it's expensive. By the way, did you see the price of silver this morning? Whoa! Asking price I think was $19.88. There's a year for you. But anyway, so yeah, looks like we're probably going to breach 20 this week. Is what it's feeling like. So notice I'm just putting little globs in several places. All right. Oh yeah, the honeycomb board. We're back to that. You know what? Somebody just somebody just suggested using the honeycomb board. Duh. I don't know why I keep forgetting that when I do this. I like things the hard way. Alright, so I'm going to switch out to the honeycomb board. Hold on. I'm going to need some pins for that. I was going to use a honeycomb board to do the jump rings, but I guess we might as well just pull it out and do it for this too. Alright, there we are. Honeycomb board it is. Okay, so notice my solder is facing towards me so that it is facing the next one, just like so. And then I'm going to put solder on the next one. Okay, here we go. So just solder on 2 pieces. You don't need it on all 3 because obviously the middle one will get solder by default. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go 5 or 6 if you're uncomfortable, but what you don't need to do is you do not need to spread this like peanut butter. Okay, so I'm going to wedge it right up there, and then I'm going to pin this in place again. Okay, I was going to say, why is that off? Because I didn't put it in the right spot. Okay, so believe it or not, Andy got interested here, and he's asking the first question in all these months. Can you just put solder on that middle piece and not on the other 2? The answer is yes, you can, but the thing is, you want it on the side and not on the top, so you want to make sure that you're not like getting it all over the place and getting it to bleed all over the place is the problem. Okay, so that's not going to happen that way. Okay. Okay, so there we are. Let's solder it. Now remember, when you're soldering, always keep a tool in one hand and your torch in the other. And I'm just going to heat this whole thing up and down, and you're going to see it really quickly here. You'll see the solder flow. There it goes. It's starting to flow, and you want it to run the entire length between all the wires, or else it will fall apart. There we are. Okay, so I can see on this one there's a whole section about 1/2 inch that did not, where the solder didn't flow. I probably should pickle it, but I'm not going to, because you know I like to tempt those demo gods. I like to say, screw you, you can't get me. There it goes, it flowed. Okay, so don't touch the pins. You might want to quench the pins just to keep yourself safe. And pick that up. Alright. There we are. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Alright, so everybody's good. Throw that into the pickle. And let's go get the other, go get the jump rings. I'm going to go ahead and quench all of my pins. Why? Because I'm about to use them again. So I want to make sure I keep safe. Alright, what's going on with the jump rings? Jump rings are nice and clean. Okay, here we are. Jump rings. Alright, I'm going to set this aside, pull out my bench block. And I'm moving them together, like so. Right? I'm going to try to line that up a little bit. Okay. So you can take out your mallet, or you can take the back end of your pliers. I think I'm going to do it that way instead. And I'm going to push this down to try to flatten it a little bit. Nope, didn't like that. So we're going to go ahead and flatten it a little bit with our... Jiminy Crickets. It doesn't want to go where I want it to go. Okay, there we are. Okay, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to flatten it a little bit just to get it to lay down. There we go. Okay. Notice how I grab that? Have it pinched between my fingers. Be careful if your board is still warm, okay? My board's just a hair warm. And I'm going to go ahead and pin these in place. Okay, so this is going to take this is a bit of a delicate operation. And notice how I just pushed those two together. Okay, because you want them touching. And I definitely want to pin to the outside pieces to keep them from moving. Okay. Once you start locking some of these in place, the other ones should basically stay still. I lost a pin along the way. Here we go. So I like to pin one on the outside, one on the inside, and it has tendency it keeps it right where I want it. I'm not going to get too crazy there, but I do want to see that it's touching between these two and these two for sure, and then I'll put solder along there. Okay? Oops. So here I'm going to go ahead and take out some medium solder. And again, I love solder paste for this kind of thing. So, teeny weeny bit right there. And you see it separated, but that's okay. I'm going to move it right back. Okay. Definitely want some right there. And then I want some on the outside too. Right there. Okay. And just a little tiny bit more. Almost there. But lots of little joints. There we go. again, just trying to find all the little joints where they touch and put a little bit of solder on everything. Okay? Because you're going to be bending this, so you want to make sure that you have really nice joints on there. Just like that. Okay, so I know that my rings have moved. I think you can see that. So I'm going to move them back. There we go. And it's a little off, so I'm moving it that way. So the question is, can you fuse them? Sure, you can fuse them. But the real question is, how good are you? Because you can just end up with a puddle. Considering that I'm using the same gauge wire across the board, it's easier to fuse than if you were to have different gauges. But another problem too is most people are only familiar with fine silver fusing as opposed to sterling silver. Okay, sterling silver can and will fuse, just a matter of time and heat, but it's a lot harder. So it's about maintaining the integrity of the rings. You see, most people whom I've seen do fusing, there's people who refuse to solder, let's just put that out there, okay? But the thing is, most people who are fusing, when you look at it, you've lost the integrity of the rings because it's become sort of blobby, right? So, took off the wrong ring. So if you look, and actually if you look on the website, you'll see that all my rings, the integrity of the shape of the rings are all there, okay? So, that's sort of personal at this point. Okay, so I have moved everybody together. I sort of recentered it, realigned it a little bit because I want that to be nice and even. And now I'm going to heat it, the whole thing. Heat it, and then start at one end to the other. And boom. Gosh, that was quick. That was a lot faster than I was expecting. Alright, yay me. Okay, yay starter gods. Didn't have to sacrifice Andy today. It's all good. Honey, you're not laughing. He just said haha. Alright. Okay, so here we are. Ooh, nice and solid. Ah! Throw it in the pickle. Let's go get the ring shank. Okay, so grabbing the ring shank out of the pickle. Okay, so Andy just said, you know, nobody noticed your new eye makeup. Honey, it's because I'm wearing glasses. Yes, believe it or not, I tried new eye makeup today. I know, we're having way too much fun with makeup. Hard to tell on screen. It's much better in person. I'm actually wearing midnight blue. Okay, there we are. The pieces are together. Okie dokie. Alright, so now you need to decide what size you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to do a 7. So I'm going to start at a 6. I always start small and work my way out. So I'm going to put this right at the 6, take out my mallet, and bend it over. So I just got a question. Can you solder 3 jump rings together? I'm sorry, say that again. Could you solder 3 jump rings together, then weave the other 2 jump rings around and solder in place like a Celtic knot? Yes, of course. You can. It's just a different challenge, right? Okay, so here I'm at a 6. Don't know if you can see that. And I'm just going to push it down to the 7. This helps me keep it more conformed to what I need it to be. And although I don't know how much width I need for the jump rings, I'm going to go ahead and trim it real quick in anticipation. I might have to trim it more, but that's okay. So heavy duty cutters, don't use those Lindstroms. These are the Kibas because you're going to break the Lindstroms if you use it, unless you have the heavy duty Lindstrom cutters, which they do have. It's like 75 bucks. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to double check that size. Yep, I'm still nice and round, around that size 7. Okay, and by the way, because it's a thicker band, you want to make sure that that middle one is right on the 7 if that's your size. If it's a 6, then the middle one needs to be at the 6. It shouldn't be above or below. Okay. Oh, somebody noticed my fingernail polish, did ya? I think it's much more appealing than the red. Thought the red was a little obnoxious. Okay, so then what I'm going to do next, I got my jump rings out, and we're just going to put this right here. Actually, I'm going to put it right in here and pray a little bit. Again, I'm going to put it right on the 6, and I'm going to shape it down just like that. Woo, it worked. Okay, and I want to so I started at the 6, going to shape it around a smaller size. Okay, so you can see I like to flip it over because I'm right-handed. It makes it a little bit easier. Then I'm going to go to the 7 and shape it at the 7. Okay, so actually it's easier to put it down like so. This is where the little baby mallet works really well. Okay, so you want to make sure you bring that down on the sides. Let's see. Feeling a little bit big, so I'm going to go small and stretch it out. There we go. And again, you want that size 7 to be right in the middle of the jump rings. Okay, that's your true size, not above or below. Okay, so here I'll show you. Here's my 7. You don't want it to sit like this. You want this to come down to the middle. Okay? The question is, why haven't you seen the wood block before? Probably because I haven't made a ring. But we have it on our website. So yeah, there we are. And I'm just shaping it some more. I don't know, being a little anal retentive here. Okay. Yep. Just a little bit. Okay, so this is not coming down the way I want. I'm going to hold it just like that with my thumb and ask it to come down. Okay, so now next up is I'm going to put the ring shank on, and I'm going to take my measurement. Okay, so you can see, I think you can see, I'm going to hold that there. So this side is right on the edge of the shank, and you can see how much of an overlap I have. You could go ahead and do it with an overlap. It's much more challenging to do it end to end. Okay, so let's take the challenge. Pull out a Sharpie if you want, or you can eyeball this, whatever makes you happy, whatever you're comfortable with, really. Okay, so I'm going to put this right on that edge, and on this side I'm going to mark it. Can you see that? So this side is right there. Okay? Now I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to file it with the round file, because if you notice, the jump ring is round and your cut is flat. Of course you can go ahead and solder it, but come on, we want it to look professional, right? So I'll go ahead and cut this like so. And then I'm going to take out my file. And I'm going to file right in the center right here. You see that? So that I can create a little bit of a round edge or concave edge. Not so easy. Gonna take a little bit to get started. You know what I was thinking? You could do it across. Ha! Look, save yourself some work. Look at that. Yep. Wow. Okay. Why didn't I think of that before? And notice how I flipped it over because I have it's smaller up here than it is down here. So of course you want to flip it over so that you make it nice and even. Okay, here we go. And check it. See if it fits the curve. Wow, okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm liking that one. Let's check the other one. Yeah, baby. Ah, so happy. Okay, next. Oops. All right, give me a second. Gonna get rid of some of these tools I've pulled out. And we're gonna pull out the pumice. See, how do we want to do this? So the thing is that jump rings, the round file is just a round file. There was a question, what's the round file? It's just a round file. You can use your needle file if you want, if you have a needle file. This one, I think it was some really, really expensive one that I had acquired. Somebody went out of business. I can't even read it anymore. But anyway, it's just a round file. Okay. Most people have one in their needle file. Okay, so here's the deal. If you were to solder this and you were to put it on the jump ring, okay? So here, again, let me show you. If you were to solder this, you see that? To get it to the center of the shank, if you were to just put it down here, it won't be to the center of the jump rings, right? It would just be to one end. It'll be off. So the question is, how do you get this to be in the middle? There's a whole bunch of ways you can approach this. One of which, of course, is to maybe create something like this, right? To raise it. Something to raise it, and then you put it right up to it, right? That works really well. Actually, this is, what is this? This was 8-gauge wire. Just happened to have a piece of scrap there. So that would work really well. Another way you can do this too is use your pumice, right? And there we go. That works also. I think you can see that, right? So you just work it in the pumice and get it to the right position. Okay, so I'm going to put some solder on here first, and then I'll put it into position. A little bit on both sides. Because I'm going to solder this in one shot. Of course. Why would I do it any differently, right? I know, you guys hate me when I do this. And pull out my, here we go. It's going to take a little bit of toying around. Now, of course it was easier when I didn't have any solder on there, but now that I have solder, it wants to fight me. So I just used copper solder. If you were doing this in all silver, you want to go ahead and use easy solder. There we go. Okay, make sure it's touching nicely. This one over here is not touching. You could solder one side and then the next, if that is easier for you. Wow, all of a sudden it's deciding to fight me. Hold on. You know, I might go back to the other way. I think I might go back to my little jig I have over there. Oh. There it is. There you are. I say that. Come on. So I get one side and then the other side just decides it doesn't want to play nicely. Ah, okay. Whew. I'm actually going to pull out my my solder station here because I'm going to need to turn this, and this will help me churn my piece, okay? So, and it fell apart. Alright, I give. I'm gonna go the other way. You know, sometimes when you're working, you just have to find the way that is easiest for you. Back to the honeycomb. Good idea. Again, don't know why I forget about the honeycomb like all the time. And look, my pins are like in the right place. Okay, so honeycomb it is. Put one on each side. It'll keep it straight. Sees jewelry, sees a heat sink. What? Ah. Don't get too comfortable out there. It's not gonna be very long. We're almost done. Okay, so here we go. Move you in a little closer. And bring you in. Alright. By the way, if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook, do say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. It's always fun. Yay! Okay, here we go. Let's just heat it. I'm going to heat the whole thing. And then I'm going to hit the joint there. Go to the other side, hit a joint there. Should have done it. Looking pretty good. Ooh, Canada. Hello, Canada. Okay, look at that. We're on. Done and done. Let's grab it. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna throw it in the pickle and let's clean it up. Montana. How come I don't get excited about New Jersey? Oh, New Jersey. Because I get much more excited when it's international. I don't know. It's like really weird. But okay, New Jersey. Hello, New Jersey. All right, so give me a second. It's in the pickle, and then we'll pull it out and let's do some cleaning. Let's quench this before I go grabbing it. Set everything aside. I'm sorry, honey. Decatur, Illinois. All right. I don't know. Have we had anybody from Illinois recently? Mostly East Coast. It's just sort of fun. All right. So, thanks for swinging in. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be done here, but we're here every Monday and Wednesday doing fun projects. If you want a little bit more, Virtually Ever Crafting is coming up. virtuallyevercrafting.com is a weekend of classes, and there's 15 instructors all on one weekend, so you can get a whole diverse bunch of classes if you want to, and they're being recorded so you can even stack your classes, although it's only available for a week. North Carolina, hello. All right, so almost done in the pickle. Gonna go ahead and turn off the other torch. Oops, where is my tweezer? Here we go. So if it didn't solder, put it together, do it again. No big deal. Okay? Alrighty, look at that. You can throw this in the tumbler if you want. It'll get all the little parts and pieces really nice and clean. You can also patina this if you want a little bit more depth. I like my silver really nice and bright. I also like my copper really nice and bright. So we're just going to clean it. I have some steel wool here. You can definitely use your brass brush, or like I said, you can throw it in the tumbler if you want. It's a simple project and, you know, gets to the point. Again, it's Minimal Metal Monday, which means we only use 16 gauge and 18 gauge wire and jump rings, 5mm and 8mm jump rings. These are complementary projects to my book, Minimal Metal Jewelry. And let's see, almost there. Look at that. Pretty simple project. You know, I meant to mention before I forget, another thing you can do too. Okay, so might have it. So the first run on this project was to keep all of the rings loose. It makes for a really bad picture. So you actually didn't even have to solder these together, but it was also really hard to size because they were moving all over the place because they were just daisy chained, right? But you can definitely do these loose, and it's easier to get on and off. And actually, now I think about it, for people who have sort of like arthritic hands or whatnot, it might be a little bit easier. So that is an option for you, is to do it without soldering all 5 rings together. But anyway, what was the question, Andy? Alaska. Let's see, what time is it in Alaska? Let me think about this. You're behind us. Wow, it's early out there, right? It's got to be 7:30, right? What was I doing at 7:30 this morning? I actually did the hike this morning. First time since week 2. We are here in week 18. So, first time since week 2 that I've actually taken a hike before the live, because I used to not be able to wrap my head around what I was doing if I went out and did something in the morning. But this morning I got up early, and 1,500 feet I climbed today. That's 10 times up this hill, 150 feet up. Yep, I'll feel it later. Anyway, okay. Here we go. You guys are talking about garlic bread, I see. Don't make me hungry. you know. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Again, um, it's a pretty straightforward project. Yes, it sort of looks like Olympic rings. Which side end rings, the shank, and chainmail. So the question is, okay, so if you were making it loose, right, would you solder the end rings to the shank and then chainmail it on? You know what? I never thought about it, but that would work. I don't see why you couldn't do it that way. Hmm, that probably would have been easier. Actually, now that you asked that question, had I thought about it. Okay, so what I would do is I would do my wires, right? And then I would go ahead and solder the jump ring on each side, right? The one jump ring on each side, then bend it, then chainmail it together, and then solder all the jump rings individually. Hey, not a bad idea. I like it. Anybody else have a question, honey? Okay, so that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out. I will probably Twitch this weekend, if not maybe even during the week this week, because I want to finish up all the projects for August. Remember, on Wednesday we have Step by Step Surprise Labyrinth. You should be at the stage, if you are following along, you should be at the stage of making your bezel. Do not set the stone. I didn't show you how to do it, so don't do it. So you should have made the bezel and you should have cleaned it up really nice, okay? And we will start putting that together on Wednesday. Other than that, I will see everybody Wednesday, if not Friday, if not next Monday. Here we are again on Twitch and whatnot. All right, everybody have a great day. I know it's warm out there. Enjoy it while you can, because summer is only here for so long, right? Okay, have a good one. We'll see ya.